All right. Well, good evening, everybody.
Good
Evening.
evening.
Thank you for coming to the presentation this evening. My name is Roberta, and I'm a dietitian and a diabetes educator, and I work with Lexington Medical Center with Miss Kay, who's on the call, and Miss Natalie, who's on the call too. So we like to do these presentations in order to help the folks that come through our classes or folks in the community to just be able to learn more and enjoy having a nice support group environment. And most of the time we do our presentations in person, but a lot of times or sometimes we do them online. So I'm glad that you joined us online. So I guess that's all of my introduction. And give Natalie a few seconds. Switch it over. You ready, Natalie? Yep, I think she left. Well, tonight's presentation is called Foods That Heal, and it's taken from this book right here. Can you see the book in the screen on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. This is entitled Encyclopedia of Foods and Their Healing Power, and it was written by Dr. Daniel Pamplona. See if I get his name. And he's an expert in nutrition, PhD in nutrition, and he compiled the book that has lots of different foods that are healing. So the presentation tonight is taken from that book. So what are foods that heal? Well, it's the ability of certain foods to restore health and to avoid certain disorders or diseases. And this is really important to know because if we know what to eat in order to avoid disease or to help us hopefully reverse some other diseases that we may have, such as diabetes or hypertension, then it really gives us a great tool in our toolbox to be able to help us to stay healthy. So the things that we're going to talk about this evening, this is just a small sample of all of the different types of foods and how helpful they are. But there's just lots and lots more foods that I could even mention tonight. We would go on for a very long time. So this is just a small sample, and I hope that you enjoy it. I'm going to make sure this is the right presentation because I was working on it. Let me just make sure. Okay. All right, so we'll stay with this one then. All right, so here's some categories of foods that are very helpful for us. If you've been to diabetes education, I'm sure you've heard Miss Kay talk about whole grains and how good they are, and they help us to, what do we mean by whole grains? Do you know what that means? You can unmute and talk if you like. What are whole grains? Shane, you have any ideas? Unmute yourself so we can hear you.
I think of when I think of whole grains, I think like wheat bread, the whole wheat bread, the browner grains, barley, um, rye, stuff like that.
Exactly. The things that have the outer cover called the bran layer and the inside layer called the germ layer, all the nutrition and all of the fiber is in the whole grains. But if we have the white bread and the white rice and the white pasta, then the fiber is removed and the nutrition is taken out. They add a few things back, but nowhere near what's in the original whole grains.
Mm.
So some of the benefits of the whole grains would be to help reduce our total and LDL cholesterol, and LDL is the bad one. Those are little devils, right? HDL is the good one. The whole grains help to protect our arteries and help us control our weight because of the fiber. And for those of us that have diabetes, it improves our insulin sensitivity. So it allows our cells to take up the sugar in the blood more readily, and that helps us to control our blood sugar. So whole grains should be a staple of our diet. Do y'all like oranges and grapefruit and lemons
Mm.
and
No.
mandarin oranges? These boost the immune system. They have vitamin C in them. They also may reduce heart disease. And one of the most important things now that we see a lot of cancer in our society is they help to prevent certain types of cancer. So always enjoy your citrus. Put a little lemon in your water and enjoy oranges or the little mandarin oranges. Not too many carbs in those, but they really have a big healthful impact on us.
Now, when you're talking about the oranges, orange juice, as long as it's no sugar added, is good then?
Well, orange juice does not have the fiber. So orange
Okay.
juice will shoot our blood sugar up just like soda will. And it's
Okay.
very good if our blood sugar is too low, but it's
Okay.
much better to have the whole fruit. So that's a great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the broccoli and kale. Do y'all like broccoli and kale?
Mm,
Okay. Well, if you don't like it, Miss Kay has a good idea. She says just roast it, cover it in a little bit of olive oil and season it and put it in the oven on 350 for about 20 minutes. And that the small amounts of sugars in the broccoli will come up to the top and just be very, very, very tasty. And you can also throw the whole head of broccoli on your grill.
uh,
So it's good like that too. But these types of foods improve our heart health. They protect us against heart disease. They help to stabilize our blood sugar. They're very high in fiber. They boost the immune system if you want to avoid catching some of the things that are floating around in the winter. And again, these are another group of foods that also have powerful anti-cancer properties. So very important to have our greens. Y'all like garlic?
mhm,
Some people love it. Some people don't like it. If you eat enough of it, it's good for social distancing, right?
right.
Um, it helps to reduce our cholesterol and our blood pressure levels. So great for hypertension. A potent cancer fighter. Increases our blood fluidity, so it tends to circulate better. And with diabetes, that's something to really consider because if our blood sugars are a little bit high, we get some thick, sludgy blood, and that's what causes problems in the kidneys. Okay, so it helps our blood to circulate, and it's a natural antibiotic. So if we eat lots of garlic, chances are any infection that might be brewing inside of our body, it wouldn't have as much of a chance to grow and to become a problem. So just remember to eat our garlic and lots of it. Raw, fresh, powdered, any way you like it is good. Soybeans. Some people eat soybeans. We see it more in the Asian culture with the green soybeans. They call that edamame. Some people in the United States and also in Asia, they like tofu. And also they're in soy milk and soy yogurt and in veggie burgers, veggie chicken, veggie uh, bean burgers, those kinds of things. Soybeans are very good because any fats that we have in our blood that might damage our blood vessels, it makes them less damaging. They have estrogen-like hormones, and some people say, well, I can't have soy because, I have a history of breast cancer in my family. Well, if the soy products are not highly processed, then it's a bit beneficial type estrogen. It's not harmful at all. So it's really very good to prevent breast cancer. Helps protect against some types of cancer, which you just talked about. And it's a complete protein. So for someone that wants to eat more plant-based, if you eat soybeans, you don't have to worry about getting all of your protein sources, put together. You don't have to piece them together. So all of your protein amino acids are in soybeans. They're a complete protein. So try some recipes that might have some soybeans in them or tofu, and some of them are really good. I've made cheesecake before out of tofu, and it was really good. Ground flaxseed. Does anyone use flaxseed?
No.
Okay. It's a very important thing to add to our diet. We want to have about 2 tablespoons a day. It really helps with our blood fat. So it helps lower our triglycerides, lower our bad cholesterol. It helps to lower our blood pressure and may also lower the risk of blood clots, stroke, and heart rhythm problems. They're also a very good source of omega-3, which is very good for the brain. So one of the best ways to use ground flaxseed would be to put it in your oats or your oatmeal if you like that sort of thing. Some people just sprinkle it over their salads or put it in their yogurt, but 2 tablespoons a day will really give you a lot of great health benefits. You can buy flaxseed whole, and if you buy it whole, you can keep it at room temperature. If you buy ground flaxseed already ground, once you open the package, you want to keep it in the refrigerator. Some people get some flaxseed, the whole flaxseed, and they put it in a pepper grinder, and then they'll grind it over their food, and it's very good either way. But if you buy the ground, just keep it in the fridge.
Okay.
Walnuts, almonds, and peanuts. Again, these have omega-3 and they protect the heart. They also are helpful to help relieve depression, and they're good to help lower our LDL cholesterol. A serving of nuts would be the amount of nuts you could fit in your hand and then close your hand over, because a lot of nuts is a lot of calories, but we need a good handful a day, and I would just rotate them. Maybe put some walnuts in your oatmeal. Almonds are great by themselves. In fact, if you have diabetes, one of the best snacks would be a piece of fresh fruit and a few nuts, because that way you have a little bit of carb, a little bit of protein, a little bit of good fat, and it's nice and portable. You know, you can carry fruit and nuts with you, doesn't need refrigeration. So that's one of the best snacks you could choose. So what foods can we choose to help with specific diseases? And again, this is just a small sampling. There's a lot more in the book. So foods for the nervous system. A lot of people these days really have a lot of anxiety and stress and depression, and some of these foods are great for the nervous system. So cashews are high in magnesium, and they can help reduce nervousness and irritability, depression, weakness, and tiredness, and they help to invigorate the nervous system and help to reduce cholesterol. So almonds and cashews are two great nuts. Again, you know, walnuts are great, peanuts are great. I know they're a legume, peanuts are, but again, a handful a day, and you can rotate these types of nuts, and they have some great health benefits. Lettuce, a lot of people say, well, why should I eat lettuce? Because it doesn't have any nutritional value. It's not very high in vitamins or minerals, but they have a plant chemical, that naturally occurring plant chemical, and it could be used as a sedative. So it tends to wind us down. It could actually help us to relax in the evening, maybe go to sleep a little easier. And lettuce would be a great salad, would be a great supper dish, or along with your supper. So consider lettuce, and the darker the green, the more nutrition would be in there. Do y'all like oatmeal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oatmeal or oats are great to calm the nervous system, balance the nerves, and helps to reduce our cholesterol and triglycerides. They're high in soluble fiber, and that also helps our stomach to feel full longer. So it controls our appetite and our blood sugar. Oats are one of the best types of foods for people with diabetes because of all of these reasons. Foods for the heart. Broccoli, again, we talked about that. Some people retain a lot of fluid. They call that edema. And broccoli can help to reduce edema, make us feel full. And again, it's a powerful cancer fighter. Walnuts, we talked about for the nervous system, but they're also high in B vitamins, zinc, and copper. And they also help reduce our body's production of cholesterol, help to give us the proper fats, and help to stabilize the nervous system. And walnuts look like a brain. See, when you take that lid off, you split the walnut in half, it looks like a brain, just like the two halves of the brain. So that lets us know that walnuts are good for the brain because they look like a brain. Y'all like bananas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good for the heart. High in potassium, magnesium, and iron. And magnesium, a lot of people take, you know, they eat a lot of salt. They might have potassium supplements or make sure they get enough potassium. But a lot of folks really don't think about magnesium, and that's extremely important for our heart rhythm. So you can find magnesium in bananas and iron as well. And this helps with our hypertension, brings down that blood pressure, helps us avoid um, irregular heart rhythms because of the potassium, may help us avoid strokes and again, cancer, helps the arteries to relax and helps to inhibit pain in the spinal cord. So you see, there's a lot of great benefits for bananas. And if you eat a banana, and if you have a garden, you want to take your banana peel and you want to put one banana peel in about a quart of water and let it sit for a day or two. And then take the banana peel out, and your plants will love that banana water. It gives them potassium and magnesium too.
Mm.
And the plant will be very happy. So give your plants the banana water.
With bananas, how bad is that with diabetes? How much does that affect you, the sugar in a banana? Because I love bananas, but I've been
Well,
cautious so far.
yeah, well, I have good news for you. Bananas are a high in carbohydrate, just like bread or other fruits or other types of grains. And so we do need to budget the bananas into our menu plan. So I don't know if you've been given a certain amount of carbs that you could have for a meal, or if you learned the plate method where you just have about 25% of your plate as carbohydrate. You could have the banana as your carbohydrate for that meal. So let's say you had a salad and a piece of chicken, that would be your free veggie and your protein. The banana could be your carb. Or if you wanted to have a banana for a snack, I would buy a small one, not a big, huge one, buy a small banana. And then again, if you have the banana with some nuts, maybe walnuts, that combination of fat, carbs, and protein, it shouldn't really raise your blood sugar very high. But
So,
if
so a
we,
smoothie with like a walnut butter or something like that, and a banana would be good then.
yeah, that would be great.
Uh,
And if you have, are you wearing a continuous glucose monitor?
No, ma'am. I'm just 4 weeks into a diagnosis, and they're treating it with metformin right now.
Okay, well, if you can talk your doctor into giving you one of those continuous glucose monitors, those are excellent to see what's my blood sugar before the meal or snack and what's my blood sugar after the meal or snack. And that lets you know how many points of blood sugar that particular meal or snack raises you. And you can say, oops, that was a little bit too much. Or you can say, I'm fine. So you want to know what your blood sugar is before and then about 2 hours after. And that will let you know how you need to adjust your meal planning. So
Okay.
ask your doctor for a prescription for a Libre. A Libre 2 would be a good one for someone that's on metformin. Um, Sometimes insurances don't pay for the continuous glucose monitor unless someone's on insulin.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to pay for maybe one or two sensors just to kind of see how your body responds and you're willing to pay out of pocket, I know that the diabetes educators can help you with a coupon where you can get it for it's not that expensive, but it's definitely worth it to wear it for 2 weeks just to see how does my body respond to a banana, or other things that I like. Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
great, great question. Sure. Um, Peaches help our blood flow to the heart. So I don't know if you've heard of the term ischemia. Sometimes people that aren't getting enough blood flow, they get some pain in their chest area, and peaches help to restore the blood flow to the heart. It helps with valve problems, and it can help relieve myocardiopathy, and that's a disease that breaks down the heart muscle. So peaches are extremely healthy for the heart, and we love them, when they come into season in the summer. Okay, so there is a type of amino acid which is a building block of protein, and that's called arginine, and that's natural nitroglycerin. So when people have chest pain, sometimes they give them nitroglycerin, and that expands the arteries. Well, arginine is an amino acid, a building block of protein that does the same thing. Isn't that great? And so you can find arginine in these foods right here. So tofu, Brazil nuts, and Brazil nuts are also high in selenium. A lot of people have thyroid problems because they don't have enough selenium in their diet. We don't really see it a lot in the soil that we're growing our fruits and vegetables in. But Brazil nuts tend to concentrate selenium, And if you have 3 Brazil nuts a day, that should be plenty of selenium for your thyroid. And hopefully, if people think that they might have a thyroid problem, Brazil nuts might be able to correct that because of the selenium. Okay. Lima beans, garbanzo beans, soybeans, black walnuts, and the other types of walnuts too, the English walnuts, almonds, kidney beans, lentils, roasted pumpkin seeds are wonderful just for a lot of different things, but all of these foods tend to relax the arteries, so they also allow more blood flow to get to your heart. Isn't that great?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Roasted.
Another food for the arteries is grapefruit, and I know some people that are on certain blood pressure medications cannot have grapefruit, but if you're allowed to have it, it tends to help unblock the arteries and it cleans the blood. And the artery walls, sometimes when they're inflamed or if they have things sticking to them, the artery wall can thicken and that might cause, some of the blockage that we see in heart disease. So it tends to cut down on that. It's got some soluble fiber, which protect the arteries and keeps the cholesterol in check. It's got flavonoids, and that helps us avoid strokes. It's got anti-cancer properties, antioxidant properties, and the antioxidants, they really help the immune system. So it helps us avoid the flu and COVID and all that good stuff that goes around in the wintertime. It's got vitamin C, and that helps the immune system and cholesterol levels. The diuretic effect, it helps us to clean out toxins from our body. And it helps us get rid of uric acid. Have you heard of gout?
Mm-hmm.
It's very painful, right? And so grapefruit helps us to get rid of excess uric acid to help us avoid gout. Okay. Grapefruit is a great food. Do y'all like sweet potatoes or yams?
Yes.
Okay. Yams have a steroid, and not like a pill type of steroid, but a type of steroid, like a precursor, and it stops the oxidation of blood lipids. So when we have fat in our blood, some fat is good, but when that fat oxidizes, that's when it becomes very harmful and it tends to cause blockages in the arteries. So what yams do is it stops that oxidation of the blood lipids like the cholesterol, and that protects our arteries. Helps us to lower our triglycerides, very high in fiber, and they're very rich in potassium, which helps us control our blood pressure. Sweet potatoes have a very low glycemic index. So if you ate a big handful of white potatoes compared to a big handful of sweet potatoes, the sweet potatoes would probably raise your blood sugar a lot more slowly than the white potatoes. So they're very good. Enjoy them in season, and they're excellent. Y'all like strawberries?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the fruit, strawberries are the fruit with the most antioxidants. And again, antioxidants mean stronger immune system, helping us avoid disease. They can help us stay younger. Y'all want to stay young? Eat some strawberries, okay? And this is another fruit which reduces that uric acid, helps us to avoid gout, helps us to reduce the chance of developing hemorrhoids, and also helps with our liver. So strawberries are excellent. Shane, you can throw some strawberries in your banana smoothie. Strawberries really do not, I mean, they do have some sugar, but to get the same amount of sugar as one small banana, you could have almost a cup and a half of strawberries.
Oh, wow.
So they're not, they don't really have a lot of sugar, and they're just so healthy. So enjoy those strawberries. If you cut a very thin slice of strawberry off the top and put it in a pot and put a little dirt on it and water it, put maybe a piece of or a water bottle over the top that you've cut off to keep it moist, you can grow your own strawberries. Very easy. Okay.
Yeah.
Avocados. You like avocados?
And
Guacamole?
guacamole. And
Yeah.
guacamole.
So avocados are a type of fruit, and they're very good to help lower cholesterol and fight anemia. Avocados' claim to fame, one of them, is that they're high in monounsaturated fats. Monounsaturated fats that come in the package where they originally came from, Those are the absolute best fats that we can eat. And it's the best when we have it in the package. So when we eat the avocado, other foods that are high in monounsaturated fats would be our nuts and our olive oil. I know the olive oil is not in the original package, but if we can buy the cold pressed olive oil or extra virgin olive oil, that is just squeezed right out of those olives and hopefully not really um, processed very much.
Mm.
Avocados also have vitamin E because that's a fat soluble vitamin, and avocados are high in fat. They have B6, which helps the nervous system, lots of fiber, and whenever we have avocado along with a vitamin C source, so if you had avocados and tomatoes together at a meal, which is very typical in a Mexican style meal, that combination of the iron in the avocado and the vitamin C in the tomatoes helps us to absorb that iron and helps
Mm.
prevent anemia. Okay, so enjoy your do you ever have avocado toast? You smash up your avocado and you can put a little bit of mayo if you like it, a little bit of lemon juice, and then you can toast your bread and put that on there. It's just really, really good. I like to do that and then take some cherry tomatoes and chop them up and put those on top of the avocado toast. It's a great breakfast.
Okay.
Foods for the bones. We want to avoid osteoporosis, right? Okay.
Yes.
So celery, one of the things that contributes to osteoporosis is too much acid in the blood. And we can have too much acid in the blood from eating too many grain type products, if we eat too many animal products, or if we eat too much sugar. All those things can make the blood a little bit too acid. Celery will neutralize that blood acid. So a lot of people don't like to crunch on celery, but it's something that you could chop up in small pieces and maybe put in a smoothie, like a green
Mm.
smoothie. Okay. So lemons also help to reduce the uric acid in the system. We talked about that, just like grapefruit. And if you like watermelon, it remineralizes the bones and it also reduces the acid in the system. Watermelon does, have carbs in it, so we have to be careful of the serving size. And a lot of people tell people with diabetes, you can't have watermelon. That's not true. It's very good for us. We just want to have it along with a protein and maybe some vegetables at a meal. And that way, the protein and the fiber in the vegetables will help to stabilize that blood sugar. So enjoy your watermelon. Don't let anybody tell you you can't have it, okay?
Yeah.
Sea vegetables are rich in calcium and mineral salts. A lot of people don't really like to eat seaweed, but they do have the little green pills. I forget what they call them, but they're made out of the sea vegetables. And you can take them. It's just compressed seaweed, and you can just take the pills, and you're getting all of the benefits of the calcium and the mineral salts, and that helps to build up the bones. Cantaloupe contains living water, and that gives us the minerals that we need to help build up the bones. So if y'all like cantaloupe, that's excellent too. Now let's talk about diabetes. So y'all like cabbage?
Mm.
Some people like it, some people don't like it. We can have cabbage in coleslaw. We can have cabbage in our vegetable soup. That's very good, but it is a diabetes superfood, and it helps the pancreas to produce insulin. And it doesn't produce so much insulin that it would make our blood sugar go low, like maybe some medications that we might take, but it encourages the pancreas to produce insulin. So cabbage is a diabetes superfood. It's wonderful. It also has a lot of fiber. Mushrooms help to reduce the need for insulin because they have a lot of B vitamins. They're low carbohydrate, they have some fiber. And so, whenever we add more bulk to our meals by adding things like mushrooms and cabbage, then we really don't have as much room left in our stomach for things that are going to drive up the blood sugar too high.
Mm.
Have you heard of loquats? They're called Japanese plums. I put a picture right there. Very good at helping to control blood sugar. I don't really see any in the stores around here, but you probably can buy some online. And I really need to look into this to see whether we live in a zone where we could actually grow them, because if we can grow them, I'm sure they're flavorful, and that way you've got a great source of lowering blood sugar right outside your door. But they also help to decongest the liver. They help us to get rid of excess water, help relieve any infectious diarrhea that we might have, and even help to combat the common cold. So look into some Japanese plums. And maybe next time, if we do an online presentation, you can let me know what you found out. Okay. Beans are so good at controlling your blood sugar. They not only control your blood sugar for the meal that you're eating them, but for the next meal too. They're
Mm.
so high in fiber and they stabilize the blood sugar extremely well. What are some ways that you like to eat beans or legumes?
I put them in the pressure cooker, and
Excellent.
did that last week.
Okay. Did you like how they turned out?
They need, well, I don't add really any salt, but they needed something on them.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm new on the legumes.
Okay. Well, that's a great start. And I would wait until after they're cooked to put the salt in because salt tends to toughen the outside skins
Okay.
and you might have to cook them for a long time. So just cook them plain. And then when they're just about done or when they're soft, then you can add your seasonings in there, cook them a little longer. I did see a video the other day where the person put a whole peeled potato, a whole tomato, and a whole onion in with the beans when they cooked them. After everything was cooked, they took out the potato, the tomato, and the onion, and a little bit of the beans and put them in a blender, blended them up, and then added them back to the beans. And it was just as, made the beans a little bit more creamy and that good potato flavor.
Mm.
The tomato and the onion was excellent. And you could also add, a bay leaf when you're cooking it. Take the bay leaf out when you're finished. Some people like to add Italian type seasonings like oregano or basil. Some people like to add spices to them like cayenne pepper or maybe some hot sauce, a little bit of hot sauce,
Mm.
but they're excellent. So put in your soups, put them in your stews. I like to eat, so I don't have time to cook a lot, for long-term cooking. So I like to buy the Morningstar black bean burgers. That's a great way for me to grab a sandwich and just be on my way. And I know that I'm getting the beans, which help to stabilize the blood sugar.
Okay.
Artichokes contain a plant chemical called cynurin, and that helps to lower the blood sugar. And then inulin, that's a type of fiber. It also is very good for stabilizing blood sugar. So artichokes are great. You can eat them dipped in like a lemon, lemon butter sauce, not too much fat, but just a little bit. They're very good like that if you steam them. And then celery, we also, in addition to helping to neutralize the blood acid, it helps to regulate the blood sugar as well, lower our cholesterol, and neutralize the acid. So those are three great foods for people with diabetes and people that want to avoid diabetes. Onions can help reduce blood glucose. Did you know that?
No.
Onions are great for the blood sugar and help to also prevent against the arteriosclerosis or the buildup of plaque. Here's another odd piece of produce. It's nopal, which is Mexican prickly pear. This can produce a rapid drop in blood sugar with type 2 diabetes. It's very well known in the West. I have seen some prickly pear sold in some of the grocery stores around, and it's very sticky, so I'd probably grab it with some garden gloves and split it, with a knife, and then go ahead and get the inside out and eat it like that. But it's very, very good for blood sugar. Magnesium is critical to help control blood sugar, and we can find that in a lot of our fruits and vegetables. We talked about bananas before, but it's very, very in very good quantities in our fruits and vegetables, as well as wheat bran, our nuts, and our seeds and our beans. So magnesium is critical, and it's in lots of plant-based foods. Foods that fight the flu. Apples, the skin on the apples is extremely good to protect your lungs against something called a cytokine storm. When we develop the flu, we get the upper respiratory, and then whenever the virus comes down into the lungs, the body has this reaction. It's trying to fight off that virus. And in some cases, there'll be an overreaction. It'll be this terrible congestion and respiratory distress with the flu. The apple skins will prevent that or help to prevent that. So apple skins are extremely good for the lungs, especially if you have the flu. You want to eat apples. Very important. Lemon juice is great to prevent the flu. Sunflower and pumpkin seeds, strawberries, we talked about that. Carrots, dark green vegetables, red grapes, and plant foods eaten raw. Now, I don't know if you've heard about resveratrol, and that's the plant chemical that's in red grapes. And you may have heard of it when they were back in the day, about a decade ago or two, when they were promoting red wine. You remember that?
Mhm.
Drink your red wine because it's good for the heart.
Yeah.
Well, the plant chemical that's in the red wine that's actually good for us, that is resveratrol, and it's in the red grapes. So we
Yeah.
don't have to drink wine in order to get the benefit. We just can eat the red grapes. And again, it's high in carbs, so we need to budget that into our meal plan.
Okay.
So putting it all together, how should we plan the meals? Well, if you've been to diabetes education, you saw this plate. And what we want to have is half of the plate as non-starchy vegetables, okay, salads and broccoli and carrots and kale and all things we talked about 25 to 30% of the plate as carbohydrate. That would be your starches and grains, your fruits, or your milk and yogurt. And then about 25% of the plate is protein, and that's going to be either our beans or our nuts, seeds, or our animal products like meat or eggs or cheese. So that's how the plate should be structured. When you are choosing vegetables and fruits and carbohydrates, you want them to be whole food, and be aware of the portion size, but have it whole, the whole fruit, the whole grain, the whole vegetable. Instead of choosing, when we want to have corn, we need to have corn, not Doritos.
Mhm.
Unprocessed is best. So first make your protein rich selection. That could be lean meat, like a piece of chicken, piece of beef, something like that. Plant is actually better. So if you want to have a few meals a week that you're rotating in some beans, that would be healthier. Um, and then you want to choose at least one serving of nuts a day, fourth of a cup. And then you want to have your raw foods for half your intake. So try to have one raw thing with each meal. So if you're going to have a piece of fruit, that would be raw with your meal as your dessert, or you can have some raw vegetables. Some raw things are excellent, and some cooked things are excellent. So having a combination of the raw and the cooked is great. Lots and lots of non-starchy vegetables. And we want to have color. We eat with our eyes. So if you had a plate and half the plate was filled with cauliflower, and then you had a piece of white fish, and then you had some peeled potatoes. So you have got white potatoes, white fish, and white cauliflower. That doesn't look very appetizing. We want lots of color, lots of green, lots of red, lots of orange. It's very appealing to our eyes when we eat. We can make our recipes in larger quantities and then portion them out. That really saves a lot of time. So I don't know how busy everybody is, but a lot of times we eat out. We swing by the restaurant because we don't have time to cook. But if we make larger quantities and then do our meal prep, that can reduce that temptation to eat out a lot. And you
Mhm.
want to make meals enjoyable. You want to eat when you're relaxed. You want to eat slowly, enjoy your food. Try not to be rushed or stressed when you eat. So some healthy meal ideas for breakfast: oatmeal with our ground flaxseed, fresh fruit, and soy milk. And that would include a lot of those foods we talked about. We could also add a banana to that or some strawberries. For lunch, you could have peanut butter on whole wheat toast, a piece of fresh fruit. And then for breakfast, also whole grain cereal with fresh fruit, nuts, or soy milk. Scrambled tofu, it tastes just as good as scrambled eggs. You can put some turmeric in there, that yellow spice. and it looks and tastes like eggs. Put some veggies in there, sauteed peppers and onions and mushrooms and even some spinach. And you can stir that up with the tofu. Those would be some great breakfast ideas. For lunch or supper, fresh raw veggies, and then whole grain bread with a few nuts. So that would be a nice sandwich. Fresh salad with slivered almonds. Hummus, do y'all like hummus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could have that on whole grain pita bread with lettuce or spinach, and then healthy leftovers from another meal. For supper, some whole grain spaghetti with marinara sauce and a big salad, vegetable bean soup with whole grain bread, bean burritos on whole grain tortillas, and then beans and rice with a fresh salad. And those things are very simple. Some people really like complicated and intriguing recipes. I'm more of a simple cook, just want to put it together and eat it. So if you like to try new recipes and don't mind spending a lot of time in the kitchen, highly recommend the website forksoverknives.com. They just have lots and lots of great recipes, very colorful, plant-based, excellent. Lots of healthy things for our heart and keep our blood sugar low. So a lifestyle that heals, that would be we want to eat slowly, we want to chew thoroughly, because we want that digestion to begin in the mouth. We don't want the stomach to have to do all of the digestion. The best way to do things is to have 2 meals a day, 6 hours between meals. If you do, and you definitely want a morning meal and you want an afternoon meal. We don't want to skip breakfast. Some people, they would rather eat 3 meals. And if that's the case, just do about 4 to 5 hours in between meals and try to eat about 4 hours between the last meal and bedtime. Have a lot of healthy variety of foods. Drink lots of water. Water recommendation would be to take our weight, divide it in half, and then that's how many ounces that we should have in a day. Include our exercise. It's great when someone has diabetes to maybe walk or do some sort of exercise for about 10 or 15 minutes after each meal. That helps our cells be more willing to take up the carbohydrate that we just ate and keeps us healthier. Make sure we get plenty of sleep. The best time to go to bed is as early as you can before midnight. Every hour of sleep we get before midnight is equal to 2 hours of restfulness after midnight.
Right.
So going to sleep early is extremely important. That's when before midnight is when our body releases a lot of hormones that help us avoid depression. It helps our thyroid to work better. It helps our blood sugar control. So going to bed early is extremely important. We do want fresh air and sunlight. I don't know how much you want to get out with all the pollen, but as soon as that finishes, we should go out and take a walk as much as possible. And then we want to try to avoid harmful substances like alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine. Those things have a negative effect on our body. When we go to the grocery store, we want to shop the perimeter, get your fruits and vegetables and fresh meats. You want to choose your raw nuts and seeds. If you can't find them in your particular grocery store, you could always find them online. Try some plant-based milk products and yogurts and things. And then when you do choose meat, you want to do your lean meats. And then you can do your fruit sorbet or your fruit smoothie like Shane was talking about. Put your strawberries in there. You can use your soy milk or your almond milk in there. Very, very good. And then unprocessed is best. We already talked about the whole foods. Those are the best things to choose. And then whenever we are trying to cook some meat, we want to do broiling, grilling, or sauteing. You can also use smoked Tarula yeast. That's a great ham-like flavor, or you can use nutritional yeast. Those give a great cheesy, smoky kind of flavor. And then you can saute your onion and garlic and some olive oil as a flavor base for soups and beans and greens. So, Miss Trish, we're talking about putting the beans in the pressure cooker. You can put a little bit
Yes.
of olive oil in there and onion
Okay.
and garlic. Excellent. All right. Any questions?
What onion is best? Is it, I've read about the red, or is it the white is best for us?
They're all good for different things. So the red is great in salads and raw dishes, and the
Okay,
white and the yellow are wonderful in cooked things. Yeah, so
okay,
enjoy all of them.
okay, good.
Any other questions?
Could you share the author of the book again, please?
Yes, his name is Daniel Pamplona Rogers. Let me see if I can find his name. Let me put his picture up there. Can you see his picture?
Hmm.
And so it's called Encyclopedia of Foods and Their Healing Power. It's actually 3 volumes. So he goes into tremendous detail. Like I said, what I showed you is just a small sample of, let's see if I can. So for each type of food, he goes into a lot of detail. Can you see those 2 pages, or is it
No.
it's too close? Should I hold it closer or farther away?
Can you stop sharing your screen, maybe?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Okay. You are right. Okay. Can you see that?
See
Should I
mushroom.
hold it? Should I hold it farther away or
Yeah, I think so.
farther away? Okay. Can you see that? It's hard to say. Yeah,
There's a
that's
glare
a
on
lot
the
of,
page.
yeah. But can you see the book?
Yeah,
Foods and
right.
healing power.
Yeah. So great information. It's a lot of things that maybe you might be able to find online, but just compiled all together, it's wonderful to be able to just have a great resource where you can say, oh, what's a great food for avoiding the flu, or what's a great food for helping me to control my blood sugar? Or you can look it up by the food. You can say, what's the nutritional benefit of carrots or mushrooms, or so you can use it as a resource for either type of thing. Any other questions? Was this helpful for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and you have Miss Natalie's information. So if you have any questions, you can either email her, or you can post them on the D2 and Me Facebook page. Are you members of that Facebook page?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign up.
Yeah, D2 and Me. I think it's D2 and Me Wellness. Miss Kay, are you there?
Yes, I am. I think that's correct.
Yeah,
D2
D2
with
and
me.
Me Wellness
Yep.
page. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you
Uh-oh.
have questions or comments, it's a great place for everybody to, have their questions answered or just look up information. And I know that Miss Natalie, she posts these presentations on that page. It takes a little while for them to be published, but she does post them.
Okay.
So, we try to provide a way for you to ask questions and get information outside of just going to diabetes education, because there's just so many questions that people have, especially when they're newly diagnosed, and it allows folks to have their questions answered, and really makes you feel empowered to be able to control your blood sugars. You're not a victim of the disease. If you have the tools, you can take control, and you can feel like, I don't have to worry so much about this because I'm in control of it. At first, there's a lot of detective work that you have to do. Let me look at the labels. Let me wear CGM and see how these different meals affect my blood sugar. But once you're comfortable knowing how exercise and stress and what you eat and the other things in your lifestyle, how they affect your blood sugar, and then you adjust those things, then you're in control and you just feel very confident. We're just so happy when folks learn all about diabetes, education, and they feel very, very comfortable and empowered knowing what to do.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
All right, well, I hope you have a great rest of the evening, and thank you so much again for coming. And
Thank you.
Well, thank
Natalie will,
you.
you're welcome. Natalie will let you know when is the next E2 and me presentation.
Thank you.
Bye now.